It's now 6:30. I want to welcome everyone to the Grant County Fiscal Court meeting, September 1st. It's now 6:30. If we could, if everyone could stand for invocation by Colton Simpson and continue to stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Right. Heavenly Father, we are grateful for this day and grateful for the opportunities that you bring, Lord. And we just ask that you bless our nation, bless our county, bless our state, Lord. And may you keep our government officials, our law enforcement officers, and all the people of the government safe, Lord. And may you give the government officials wisdom to make good decisions that would benefit you. Lord, I ask all these things in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, Colton.
Amen.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. As you see, Roger Humphrey is going to be attending our meeting by Zoom. He had just had surgery, and hopefully everything's good for you tonight, Roger, that you're not in too much pain. So if I can have Pat call roll.
Roger Humphrey.
Present.
Jacqueline Riley.
Present.
Shauna Koldar.
Present.
And Judge Gills.
Present. First item is approve the minutes. Present for a motion to approve the minutes on the regular meeting dated August 18th, 2020.
Having read the minutes of our regular meeting dated August 18th, I make a motion to approve such.
I second.
Motion made by Magistrate Riley, a second by Magistrate Kodar. All in favor by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Moving down to fiscal matters. Present for review a motion to approve the claims drawn on the general fund, the road fund, the jail fund, dated September 1st, 2020, along with transfers as presented.
I just wanted to make an announcement that I'm excited to see that the wood chipper has been purchased. And Mr. Tatum, I cannot wait for it to be fully put to use with all the ash trees. I make a motion to approve the general fund, road fund, jail fund dated September 1st, along with the requested transfers from the county treasurer as presented this evening.
I second.
I have a motion made by Magistrate Riley, a second by Magistrate Kodar. All in favor by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Moving down to new business, we have Chris Airman with us with the Grant County Extension District. He's going to present testimony on tax rates for the Grant County Extension Service for tax year 2020. Chris, is that mic turned on? Is it lit up?
I got green on the mic and red on top.
You're good. Okay.
So, I don't know if I'm presenting or presenting.
I believe you're just presenting to present to
I
us.
think
Yes.
that's the case for official recording. So, Extension District didn't do anything outside of the normal of the years. We just accepted the compensating rate because we were able to operate within the confines of what we're given. The compensating rates for this year were 7.311 cents per $100 of real property value, 14.5360 cents per $100 of personal property value, and 2.54 cents per $100 of motor vehicle and watercraft values. Anticipated delinquency and our calculation rate, we're going to be about $1,334,000, $635.35. I think there's an extra dollar in there. I apologize if you're recording. But that'll be our annual revenues that we seek to take in for this year. So most of that's going to go to the 15,000 square foot renovation and expansion of our current facility.
we had a meeting over to Extension Office today, and they had the plans there. It's going to be really nice, and the addition is going to be well needed for the county. So, Chris, I thanks for all the hard work you and the board has also put into getting this done for the county.
When is that anticipated to break ground?
We haven't set a date yet. The other building was so rushed that we're taking our time with this one so that we make sure that we've got things exactly the way we want it, because we don't want to be back in this spot in 10 years.
Yep.
Noted.
Okay. Well, Chris, thanks for presenting that. The court have any questions for Chris? If not, thanks a lot. You're excused. Do we know, is Susan, have you heard from her?
I have not. I sent her a copy of the agenda.
Okay. Susan Nimmersheim was supposed to be here, the director of the Grand Canyon Public Libraries, to present their testimony. Is it a copy of it in your file?
She actually emailed me the rates.
Yes.
I didn't put a copy of that in everybody's file because I anticipated that she would be here. I can read them if you want me to.
Okay.
We don't vote on them.
Right.
And she told me they were taking the compensating rate. The real property will be taxed at 0.105, so that's 10.5 cents per $100 of assessed value, and the personal property will be taxed at 0.1532 cents per $100 of assessed value. I'll verify that with her tomorrow before I, make those minutes. I'll make sure that that's correct. Okay. I took it right off the email. So.
Yeah, that's all we need, just present it to the court. Okay, moving down to our next item is an open hearing committee report regarding the closing of a portion of Pettit Pike. If you notice up on the screen, and even the audience, because everyone see that out in the audience? If you notice A to your left is a section on A.C. Phillips's property. It's actually going to be a closure right at his driveway. This request came to myself, and I proceeded on to the court with this request due to the fact that A.C. Phillips owns all the property on that side of Eagle Creek. And if everyone can notice, that's a fork of Eagle Creek where actually the island itself is owned by A.C. Phillips. The road hasn't been passable, and I'll hold a lot of this for Steve Tatum, our road supervisor, on that details. And then the road closure goes over to B there on your right of the screen, which is right on the banks of Eagle Creek. By doing so, it shouldn't be affecting any property. Mr. Northcutt that's here, he owns the property there at the top, and it's marked on the map along with, at the bottom, and then Steve Nostine owns the property located at the top. But it's going to the shoreline of Eagle Creek. Before we get started, I want to introduce our last meeting. We made an appointment per state or per KRS on the committee that need to be put together to present the report. We have Gary Boland with us. If you could raise your hand. We have Carl Jackson with us. I really appreciate you all stepping up and helping us to do this. It was no pay, and it took time out of your day to do it. Along with the third person on the committee is our road supervisor, Steve Tatum. So if I could have Pat read the report.
Okay, this is report regarding the discontinuance of a portion of Pettit Pike. This report is made pursuant to KRS 178.070, wherein the undersigned were appointed to view that portion of Pettit Pike, specifically that portion beginning from where Eagle Creek runs across Pettit Pike and running in a westerly direction for approximately 0.473 miles until it meets the driveway of James Asa Phillips and Alicia M. Phillips. The undersigned viewed those portions of Pettit Pike that are proposed to be discontinued on August 25th, 2020. Based upon the observations of the undersigned and given the current state of Eagle Creek, the lack of any navigable way over and or through Eagle Creek using those areas where Pettit Pike is located, and the lack of any of the proposed portion of Pettit Pike for any road traffic for a number of years, the undersigned report that there would be no inconvenience which would result from the discontinuance of the proposed portion of Pettit Pike as described herein, and it is signed by Gary Bowling, Carl Jackson Jr., and Steve Tatum, Green County Road Supervisor.
Thank you, Pat. Steve, if you don't mind, if you come up to the podium and just give your view of, as the road supervisor, a little history of the condition of the road. I know myself, and I've spoke to the court, I personally drove down on both sides of the creek. Over on the Phillips property, coming through Gallatin County, you can't even access most of it, even to get to the creek. It's just overgrown, and obviously the creek, but I'll let Steve go on and add to that.
It's it hasn't been anything done to it county-wise since 2007, and nobody uses it. I see any reason to keep it in the road system, especially when the landowner that owns the whole section is for it. He's the one that wants it. I mean, the road is pitiful because you can't even, it's not passable. You can't even get across the creek.
Yeah. Is there anyone in the audience that would like to speak on the closure? Any questions on it? Ronnie, do you have anything or any concerns? Go ahead. Okay, you're talking about where B is? Yes. And just to add to that, there's going to be we're going to put a cul-de-sac, gravel cul-de-sac for turnaround. There was concern that the Blaze family had that, people would get down there and there really wasn't a good turnaround, especially if it was wet. They were having to back up the road. They were getting on your property and Steve's property and going to their driveway. So we're going to go in and put a gravel cul-de-sac down right by the creek area, right before you drop over to the creek. Correct, Steve? Mm-hmm. And that will allow you or No Steins to turn around, along with if anybody ends up back there, it'll keep them from getting on your property and No Steins' property. And we'll maintain that in that 30-foot easement we have. So.
No portion of your land is blocked. It goes right to the edge of the water.
Mr. Tatum, if I could hit my button. Mr. Tatum, in your view of this, there is no public inconvenience to anyone that would be traveling Pettit Pike because of the condition of the road. Is that what your findings were?
There will be no inconvenience.
Okay.
Because nobody travels it now.
Gary, Carl, do you all have anything to add that Steve or we didn't add? Okay. So I appreciate your all's effort in looking at that, and I know it took time of your day, so thanks a lot. What we'll be doing, our next meeting on the 16th, we'll be doing the first reading on the ordinance for the closure. So this was just a few of the steps to get to that portion of it. So, okay, thank you. No interest party in the courtroom has any other questions on the hearing? If not, I'll go ahead and close the public hearing. Thank you, Gary and Carl. Moving down to ordinance number 0006-2020-0242. I present for a motion for a second reading of ordinance 006-2020-0242, an ordinance relating to amendment to zoning ordinance of Grant County, Kentucky to add beauty salons to the list of conditional uses within the agriculture A1 zone, and to approve the notice to be published in the local paper showing above as the adoption. Is there anyone in the audience, before I take a vote, has a concern of that ordinance? Okay, if not, I'm ready for a motion.
I second. I second.
Okay, I have a motion made by Magistrate Humphrey, a second by Magistrate Codar. If you don't mind, Pat, on the ordinance, I'll have you call roll.
Not sure my microphone's working. I think my battery might be. Magistrate Humphrey?
Yes.
Magistrate Codar?
Yes.
Magistrate Riley?
Yes.
And I'll vote yes also, so motion passes. Okay, before I move down, I'm going to go on and Susan is with us. Susan, you want to come up and I'll jump back up to you on it? I 6:30. It's all right.
I think you're going back to the prior courts. Didn't you see it?
Yes,
Yeah.
it used to be
Never
7.
mind. Don't sweat it.
Hello, and I apologize, I was late.
No, I mean,
I wrote it down as.
the prior court used to be for years, it was 7 o'clock, so
Okay.
I understand.
So this is my presentation to the Grant County Fiscal Court. As you know, for KRS 65A.100, all special districts are to present to the court any tax or fee to the governing body at least 30 days before that tax goes into effect. And so I am here. I've also included a summary of the previous year's activities. Our last regular board meeting was in July, and it's the second Monday of the month at 7. And 2 days later, I got the tax rates. So unfortunately, it was just barely missed that meeting. So we did the Grant County Library Board of Trustees did have a special meeting on August 24th and to vote on adopting a tax rate. As is normal, we received 2 tax rates. One is compensating, which is based on the previous year's amount, and the other is 4% additional. As long history shows, we've taken compensating for a long time. We took compensating again this year, and what that actually did was lower the tax rate a little bit, which is always good, which reflects that there has been growth in the county. The real property rate is 10.1. Personal property is 15.32. And of course, motor vehicle, which stays stagnant, is 3. Year in review. This has been a bizarre year, as everybody has experienced. And so it's kind of broken up some of our statistics into pre-March and post-March period. In March, we did close the library for a while. The first part of the year, the programs were going great. Good activity, good change, and then March happened and kind of changed the rules, or the rules changed us. We were closed for a number of weeks, and then with opening back up came into being, we started looking at how we were going to provide service. One of the things that we decided to do was to do curbside service, and that was very successful. Prior to that, we'd always put out a newsletter that had gone out to all the school kids and every month, and especially in May, promoting the summer reading program. And this year there wasn't school, so what we did was had a activity booklet printed up, about, I think it's 12-page booklet, that had information on how to sign up online and activities for the kids that maybe ended up not signing up online. They still had something they could go to, a coloring page, some, puzzles and things like that. And we handed out 1,000 of those bags at the lunch sites. We canceled a lot of programs. The bicentennial programs that had been scheduled were all canceled. Everything with going in-house was canceled. The one thing that was hard to do was that staffing was reduced for a period of time. We did lay off our shelvers that shelved the books. High school kids, they did find other jobs. And then ended up furloughing the rest of the staff, either a full furlough or a partial furlough. And that was for about 6 weeks. Everybody is back in the library now, but some are still working from home to keep it at a half amount of people, staff. The numbers there, you can see pre-March and post-March and things like that. Do you all have any questions for me? I will say that, looking ahead, we don't know what's going to happen. Nobody does. And, we welcome any suggestions you all have in terms of service or any public person. If you have ideas that you'd like to see us try, we're open to those suggestions. We constantly go out and we look at other libraries across the United States to see what they're doing. And libraries are big borrowers of ideas. So we don't necessarily have to invent the wheel. We just have to adapt it to our use. But, one thing that we're very concerned with is the schools and all the kids that do not have access. Of course, we're open limited hours right now. And, hopefully in the relatively near future that will go back to more extended hours. I don't know. But we're looking at potentially setting up a computer lab just for kids in the afternoons or in the evening. Well, we're not open past 6, but something to help those kids out that don't have access, that live out in the county. If they can get to the library, at least they can get computer usage.
It's challenging times.
It is.
So it's day by day. But to add to that, I know that the Grant County School System's working on some internet out in the county. So I've met with the superintendent on locations of getting that done.
Yeah. I contacted both superintendents and I said, just let us know what we can do for you, and I assume they will.
Yeah. Oh yeah. It's a partnership to get it done.
It is. Okay.
Susan, I appreciate what you're doing.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
This will be my last meeting with you all. Yeah. I am retiring at the end of the year. Well, maybe before the end of the year. Going to go out and live next to the grandbabies. So.
Don't blame you.
Well, there's big shoes to fill.
Moving down to the next item, this has to do with the library. As you know, the Grant County Library Board selects names they send to Frankfurt to the state library archives. Then the archives sends us a letter of names for appointments for the position that serves on the public library board. So I present for approval to reappoint Matthew T. Smith to serve as a member of the Grant County Public Library Board of Trustees, said term to be retroactive to July 1, 2020, and to expire on June 30th, 2024.
Present for approval the reappointment of Matthew T. Smith to serve as a member of the Grant County Public Library Board of Trustees, said term to be retroactive to July the 1st, 2020, and to expire on June 30th, 2024.
I have a motion made by Magistrate Codarn, a second by Magistrate Humphrey. All in favor by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Moving down to Judge Executive's report, one, Jacqueline mentioned the fact that there should be delivering Wednesday the wood chipper, which we've been in great need of. We've been renting it for years, and with all the dead ash trees, as you said, and branches, that's going to be a great help, and also save us money over time and get the work done. Also, want to add that Clarks Creek Road, we finally got the letter of approval on Friday. I spoke to Steve Tatum Monday morning. He's reached out to Bluegrass, and hopefully in the next few weeks that they'll be able to get started on Bluegrass or on Clarks Creek Road. As soon as we get that information from Steve, we'll get it out on Facebook to advertise it to all the residents on Clark Creek to, be watching out for the trucks. I think that's about all I have to add is those two subjects, and I just pointed out that I skipped departmental reports. So I present for review to the Grant County Animal Shelter report, Grant County Building Inspector's report, and the Grant County Road Supervisor report for the month of August 2020. No actions required. And as Pat had sent those out, we had, since this is the end of the month, just hit us yesterday. Normally the reports wouldn't be done, but they were all able to get the reports finished up and get it to Pat so she could get it out to everyone. Anybody have any questions on any of the reports? Roger, you have any questions on it? Okay. Okay, moving down to magistrate's reports. We'll start with Magistrate Humphrey.
There's been fiscal out there, they said, not a commission for a little bit, and all recuperating. Getting all that, those support, those bills, those programs, support, allowing you to participate on Zoom. Hopefully, within the next few months, all should be back there in person.
Okay, thank you. Magistrate Codarn.
Well, I've been able to attend a couple virtual trainings. Training hasn't stopped at the state level, and they have been making it available to the magistrates and the judge. I took advantage of a 6-hour training in technology, which is really helpful in developing work scheduling and task files for like the road department. So get ready, Steve. And also we had one on community action in our community, and I was really interested. It was really interesting discussion because there's the community action also has regional places, and there's one place in Kentucky that offers like 15 different programs within their community action committees. So, I think we need to do a little bit better job ourselves and seeing what there is to offer. I know transportation is one of the issues, especially for the senior citizens when they need to get back and forth to medical visits and such. So, not saying that it will happen, but, these are things that other community actions offer, but we need to look into. Also, one of them was from the Kentucky Farm Bureau. The president of that organization did a presentation, and he did advise that the Kentucky Farm Bureau statewide has offered their parking lots to be available for internet service to the public. So, for the children that don't have the internet service at home or in the unserved areas. So So I thought it was really good on their part. Unfortunately, I know you have to sit in your car to do that, but at least it's better than nothing. And again, I want to reiterate that the Dry Ridge city still is saying that they are going forward with the October 3rd Smoke and Shine Barbecue Fest at Piddle Park. So we're hoping that we can continue and still have that. Got it.
Magistrate Riley?
I do not have any specific updates to share other than general follow-ups on constituent inquiries that I will be connecting with you and the county attorney on some potential non-compliant, like with properties and stuff. So nothing specific to report, though.
Okay. Moving down to jailer's report.
So this evening, we have 41 county inmates, 144 state inmates for a total of 185. We've got our approval to start doing our transports. We also have been offered a contract which will make us one of the, if not the largest SAP, substance abuse programs in a county entity. So we'll be the biggest county jail offering that. A few things to finalize on that. I think we'll sign that this week. That would start October 1st. And that will put us at 180 beds filled by participants.
180 beds of SAP participants?
Yes.
SAP or SOAR. So there's two different programs, but they're basically similar programs. So SAP is the first 6 months. After they graduate SAP, then they would become eligible for SOAR. If they've had SAP some other program throughout the state, they're still eligible for SOAR. And that's 6 more months of counseling and classes and so forth.
And that's a combined total there of 180, right, of both
Yes.
programs together?
Yes.
Was there any more discussion brought up about the using inmates, and it might be part of the second program? I know there's some shortages of workers in the county, especially at Dana and that type of thing.
Neither one of these programs offer any outgoing work. And right now, to the best of my knowledge, I haven't talked to anybody in a couple of days, but unless something is hit this week, anybody that's offering a program where inmates are working, the program's shut down.
Okay.
So the state is not allowing them
Okay.
to go out. Right now, we just got approved to start our transports for the certain programs. That's taken a few weeks. And I'm approved to offer the mowing crew that we are currently using.
And then with the 180 being that part of a program, we'll still be taking additional inmates, just regular, right?
Well, we've always took regular inmates.
Yeah,
but
I
if you're
know,
asking
but-
me, or am I going to go out and try to move to get more state inmates?
Yeah.
Correct.
Okay.
As soon as we are physically allowed to.
Does it look like that's going to open up a little bit more?
You probably have.
A better guess than me. Okay. All right.
Mike, are you going to have to hire any additional staff to teach the SOARS program, or?
Yes, and then Shepherd's House is we're going to roll with Shepherd's House to cover
handle
that
the
as well.
staffing? Okay.
That way we can.
That's part of the $9 that
Yes,
addition
it
will get
pass
for
through.
the.
But that also gives them the ability to network their counselors in both programs.
So they won't be employees of the jail, they'll be
No,
employees
they will
of
not be.
somewhere else.
They will not county employees. They'll be subcontracted.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember. It's probably been, 9 months ago plus when I sit in on that meeting with you
Yes.
for SOARS, and good.
Yes.
So this is very great to hear.
And to your comment, Ms. Coldarn, about the work program, that there's ongoing discussions It hasn't come to fruition yet, but it is something that we're steady working towards
Okay, thank you.
gaining. That's pretty much
Okay.
my report. Does anyone have any other questions? We did have our first graduation last Friday, so
Good.
And it was an excellent graduation, and I want to commend you on a great job you did at the graduation.
Would-
Mike had a speech, it was very touching. So,
When you
I
have,
get home.
when you have those graduations, can you shoot us an email or something?
yes, ma'am. I did tell you the last meeting, but
I
I'll
didn't
make
have-
sure you
I
get an
didn't-
official email.
Yeah, but not the additional time. That's why I
Yeah.
didn't get to, I didn't know the time.
Okay.
Okay.
So
All
we'll be here
right,
next time.
thank you.
You're welcome.
Thanks, Mike. He just, what was it you said?
185.
Total 185 in there right now. Yes, sir. The bed allotment is for 345.
Yeah, it's calmed down. Okay. Next, we have the sheriff. Before he gives a report of any information, I meant to mention in my report is that last night we had a tornado siren tower that got knocked down by Grant County High School in an auto accident. So I've been speaking to our emergency management director, Les Whalen, this morning. He's contacted Federal on the company that puts out the siren about getting the costs together on it. And then I spoke to Brian today about obtaining the report for damage. It appeared, I've got the information of the owner. It appears he has insurance, so hopefully we'll be able to file a claims directly with his insurance company. And as soon as he get this price, we can get this going to get that siren back up for tornado purposes. Sorry to interrupt you, Brian. Okay.
The only real news I have is good news. We do have a lateral that's going to be starting here in the next couple of weeks. He comes from a sheriff's office background, got about 18 years experience, worked for Scott County under 2 different sheriffs there, and went to Franklin County, was the last sheriff's office he worked at under the new sheriff over there. One of the reasons he's not going back to either one of those places is, one, he moved to the Grant Owen line, so he lives close. And the reason he had a little break in service was he done a few tours overseas, so he's decided that it's time to settle down and quit going to Afghanistan and Iraq, and has kind of landed here. I've spoke with both sheriffs. He comes highly recommended, and they said they'd hire him back in a heartbeat. So we're looking forward to bringing him on board.
Good deal.
Try to help out. That's all I have, unless you all have anything.
Where are we at on like the reallocation and the internal pieces that we've discussed in the past, like with the department?
On the funds?
Yes.
Yeah, we reallocated them now. He presented it and we reallocated it. The funds from that
The one
paperwork I gave you.
Yes, that's, I just
Yes.
didn't know, is that what?
Yes, that's been put in
the
place.
19th position
Yep.
will be reallocated?
Yes.
Yes, and I want to thank you all for taking the time to look at that and the support of that. It meant a lot, and it's actually kept two from moving on, so every little bit helps.
Yeah. Okay, thank you, Brian. Moving down to a citizen's address. Does anyone need to address the court? Good afternoon.
Hello, my name's Bill Oliver, and I'm the president of the Board of Trustees of the library. I meant to be here with Susan. I thought the meeting started at 7, and so here I walked in. I just wanted to comment, since this is probably, I assume, Susan's last meeting with you, to say that we've been extremely fortunate the last few years to have her services as our librarian. The librarian just doesn't play with books. She had to be an accountant. She had to supervise custodial situations. She had to do remodeling. And in the end, she had to be a construction supervisor and landscape architect. And she has done all that. We have, as you heard tonight, I'm sure our finances are in very good shape. I think we have a strong board. But to illustrate, a few years ago, the regional librarian that the Kentucky Department of Library appoints used to come to all of our meetings. And then they had a cutback, and as it happens so often. And we didn't see her for a long time. And we told her that we missed her, and she said, well, I have some other libraries now that I have to cover. They meet at the same time you do, and they need help. You don't. You've had a very strong library system here. You've got a good staff. Susan's done a great job with facility and staff management, and now it's our job to clone her and get somebody else in that we hope will do just as good a job as she did. And I just wanted to make that public today.
Mr. Oliver's kind words for Susan. She has done a good job, and your task and the board's task going to be ahead of you to find that person to fill her shoes. So,
yeah, well, it's underway, and we hope to hire somebody in time to overlap with her a few weeks before she leaves.
okay.
That's our goal.
Yep. Well, thank you, Mr. Oliver.
Thank you.
Oh,
Am I next?
yes, if you want to get up.
Sit down, relax.
Yeah.
Yeah, go ahead. First of all, I want to thank whoever done it. The Baton Rouge Road, they mowed it on the Grant County time, not Williamstown. That's where Williamstown and Grant County meet. You can tell where Williamstown meet. They need to do a little bit more.
Okay.
So
I'll let them know.
my buddy over here, she's been doing a good job for Grant County.
Well, Steve Tatum's the man you need to thank later, sitting back here.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, he's okay.
Yeah.
What I'm hearing about tonight, it happened last month. I had to use the bathroom, and I happened to be right by the library. And I pulled in there. I went in. Both the library toilets were closed. And I went in there and told the boy, I got to use the bathroom. Well, he says there was a crippled guy there. He couldn't walk. He was on something, whatever it is that they drive. And he got me a key. Now, that's another thing. I didn't even know there was another toilet in there besides the two that's originally right there. But anyway, I used the toilet, and I come out, and I told them. I ran into the lady that her name was up there. And I was hoping she'd be here tonight. She's supposed to have been, wasn't she?
She's right back there.
She's back there? You don't look like the same one. Okay. Okay. You know what I'm talking about, don't you? Okay. You can defend yourself. How would you all like to go to the have to go to the toilet and they go in there and they're all locked up? Think about that. And I told her. I says, you can't do that. She said, oh yeah, I can. Yeah. That's the thing about Grant County. Oh yeah, I can do that. Yeah. Well, I don't understand. How do we have two public toilets and I couldn't use one? But I did use one that I didn't even know that there was a toilet there. Now that's my gripe. And I really think it's a good one because I didn't have to change my underwear. All right.
Okay, we're going to move on down to a reminder. Our next meeting will be Tuesday, September 15th. 15th or 16th, is that correct?
September 15th, is that
Yeah.
what you're on?
Yeah. September 15th at 6:30 p.m. here at the Grant County Courthouse. With that being said, I need a motion to adjourn.
I will second. Yes, he did.
Yeah, motion made by Magistrate Humphrey. Second was made by Magistrate Riley. All in favor by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. We're now adjourned. And I want to thank everyone for attending tonight.